We often think of Gary as having many titles or wearing many hats. Things like farmer, distiller, scientist, oil formulator, things like that. But from watching all of this video, I realized that Gary's most important title, his greatest skill, is something that no one was talking about. And so I don't want to just come out and tell you what that is. I want to try to take you down the path and see if you can't discover some of this for yourself. So I have a total of 4 videos that I want to show you. I'm going to show them to you in chronological order. The first 3 are from the early archives, and then there's a special video at the end. So just want you to think about what was Gary's greatest skill. So the first video that I want to show you is from 1988. These first 3 videos were all from before Mary even met Gary. And so 1988, let's go ahead and watch this video.
So it's really great when you feel good, when you feel alive. Now, I didn't feel that way a few weeks ago. In fact, when I was here in December, my energy was very low, and some of you might have noticed that. It was low for me. And I had to push myself. I had to remind myself at 5 o'clock in the morning it was time to get up and get going. And now it's jump out of bed at 4 o'clock and get on with the day. And you're excited about getting up, and you're excited about being alive, and you're excited about doing something that day. And, that's the way we all should be, and the way we should live, in my opinion, is we should be excited about getting out of bed, because if you're in bed, you're not doing anything productive unless you've got some real constructive dreaming going on. And then you can keep that going. So that's important too. But you can always continue that the next night. But if you're laying in bed because you're exhausted, you're not doing anything constructive for you or anyone else. And the best way to be totally alive is in serving other people. The best way to heal yourself is by helping your fellow man. And you can't do that by laying in bed feeling sick. True or false? Okay? So learn how to feel good, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I take a few things away from this video. The first is that feeling good is often a choice. It's something that we have to work towards. And the second thing is, Gary makes it very important that serving your fellow man is important to him. So let's go ahead and watch this next video. It's from 1990.
And folks, what I want you all to know, and I'm sure you do, is that we live by miracles every instant of our life. And when we look at the planet, and we look at the creation, and we look at ourselves, we can't help but know that we live in a constant state of miracles. That we are a miracle every moment that we breathe. Every moment that we have a heartbeat, we are a walking, living miracle. God created us, and He also blessed us to live in knowing that we're entitled to miracles every moment of our lives. He created us to be an example of who He is: health, love, peace, prosperity. And there's so many beautiful things that you can do to enhance your life and create what you want to have out of your life. Young living is just one way that maybe some of you will choose to do that. I would love to see all of you choose to do it, because of the direction that we're going and what we're doing. The things that we're sharing is not what it's all about. The young living is about education, teaching you how to be a better you, if that's your desire.
Teaching you how to be a better you, if that's your desire. Gary makes it very clear that he's just inviting people. This is just one way. Young living is just one way to better your life. And so just keep all of these little points in your mind. I think I have one more video from 1991.
Well, because I have people asking, well, how can you introduce people to Young Living? How do you sell it? And I said, if you're selling it, then you're not doing it the right way. Because you don't sell Young Living. You simply just share the love. I mean, if you carry the flame of Young Living, you carry the love. You carry the torch of love, and that's all you share, is just that love. And it ignites anything within a 200-mile radius of you if you've got that flame.
I chose this video long before Ignite Your Journey was our convention theme. So it's really fun that Gary used that word ignite. You just simply share the love. Young Living is to be shared. You don't sell it. From the video archive, it's almost impossible for me to portray the hundreds and hundreds of small meetings that Gary gave over the years, especially starting out. These were tiny meetings. People would show up, I'm guessing there would be 20, 30, maybe 40 or 50 people in the audience at the most. But the video record shows that Gary traveled all over the country, Canada, and then obviously began to travel internationally. There's no way for me to portray that, but what I did want, because the camera is just pointing at Gary, you can't see the audience, but you can tell that the audience is small. And so instead, I just want to show a couple of more recent photos of Gary with small groups. Because I really just want to have you think about how Gary interacted with people. This is probably around 2009. This is at the Highland Flats farm before the tent camp was built. And there's Gary having breakfast with everyone. This is Gary giving a lecture. It's probably during winter harvest at the St. Mary's Lodge. And so he would have been trucking chips from the Highland Flats farm down to St. Mary's. And so there's people working up at Highland Flats and people also working down at St. Mary's. But he took the time in the afternoon to talk to the members who were down at St. Mary's running the distillery and share with them his message. Just a few people. This is from the Highland Flats Reforestation Week, or Tree Planting Week. Silver Retreat, I think this is maybe 2012. Just a small group in the St. Mary's Lodge. This is after a long day of work at the Highland Flats farm. This is probably after the distillery was built, so they were no longer trucking chips down to St. Mary's, so everybody that was working the entire process would have been at the Highland Flats farm. This is from the early 2000s, Gary with members in France. Also from the different trip, early 2000s. Building the Northern Lights distillery. Putting on chains at Highland Flats, getting ready to truck chips down to St. Mary's. Some of these are like, where's Waldo? Because Gary's kind of hard to see. You know, he's just every man's man, right? Mary's in this shot along with Jacob. This is harvesting Melissa at the St. Mary's farm, probably 2013. Wow. I think this is Gary driving the forklift to install the distillation chamber at the Highland Flats farm. Yeah, logging trees at Highland Flats. You really have to look for Gary. Okay, so as I was I've already shown you this photo, but as I was putting this presentation together, this whole thing kind of came together organically. I noticed something fun. So there's only 2 photos that have the screen in them. This one and then also this one. And so if we zoom in on these, Gary's talking about attitude and talent, great tools for leadership. And then also transformation, transforming the new you. A lot of times people think about Gary teaching about product, but I feel like most of the time, or at least the majority of the time, what Gary was talking about was not product. He was talking about self-improvement. He was talking about how do we become better versions of ourselves. And that reminded me that when I first started at Young Living in 2008, I was working in the labeling department. And so I helped to kind of do the graphic design for the labels. And I remember very distinctly the first time I saw this product, and I thought to myself, what a ridiculous name for a product. And the reason I bring that up is because I only thought it was ridiculous because I didn't realize what Gary was doing. I was familiar with products that you could buy at a pharmacy, products that had a very specific name for maybe an ache or a pain or something like that. And so I just couldn't understand how a product with a name like Highest Potential would fit into anyone's life. But like I said, that is before I realized what Gary was doing. Really what Gary was doing was teaching all of us how to become the best version of ourselves. So I come back to this question. What was Gary's greatest skill? And from watching all of this video, the answer that I have come up with is this: community builder. I have one more video to share with you. Sorry. This was... Thank you. I thought I would get teared up afterward. This is a video of Gary's very last public appearance. And I know that many of you have seen it before, but let's watch it all together again.
I have an announcement I want to make. We are a growing company, and the demands of our growth is getting bigger and bigger every day. Now, he asked me before Christmas, he says, Gary, will you okay a press release to our distributors of what we accomplished in 2017? And I said, yes, you can do a press release. I said, but what do you want to put out there? He said, well, I want to tell our distributors the numbers in our press release. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. But here's where I'm at. We, Young Living, are not about bragging about financial gain. We're about bragging about helping people. Our financial brag is building houses in Nepal. Our financial brag is helping the school and the clinic in Uganda. Our financial brag is our schools in Mexico, our schools in Ecuador, the earthquake relief in Ecuador. And what we did, I wish for all of you to just wrap your arms around each other and give yourselves a hug. Because what you all did collectively, and helping Houston, helping Puerto Rico, helping Florida, Mexico, to allow us to function in a greater capacity in the relief efforts of these countries and the people that lost lives and lost businesses and lost hope. You know, Young Living was one of the first responders on all of these sites. And it was because of each one of you made that happen. That's what I want you to be proud of, and I want you to brag about. Bragging about a dollar and a number and a decimal, that isn't who we are. We're about helping people. And I hope that you forgive me for having that attitude, but that's my position. You know, I brag about our accomplishments, and dollars are not an accomplishment for me. Dollars are a tool to get to the accomplishment. So that's why I really hold to the accomplishment. That's what makes us shine. 5 years down the road now, nobody will remember what we did in dollars in 2017. But people will still be bragging about our accomplishment. Doesn't that make a lot more sense and have a lot more value? Folks, that's what has made Young Living who we are. And that's what makes us proud to be who we are, not a number on a whiteboard.
I've shown you 3 of the earliest video clips that I have of Gary. I've also shown you a clip from Gary's very last public appearance. And what is crystal clear to me is that across this 30-year span, Gary painted a picture that he and Young Living were about helping people. If we were somehow able to magically summon Gary to speak to us for 2 minutes, I think that he would make 2 points. And the first point is that life does not come with any guarantees. Gary grew up as a farmer and a rancher, and I think that people who come from farming communities have a natural proclivity for positivity because they live so close to Mother Nature. And just as Mother Nature giveth, Mother Nature taketh away. And so they don't really have any choice but to be positive, because any other attitude would cause paralysis. Many of us live much more distant from nature and in the cities, and I think it's easier to forget that life does not come with any guarantees. And so I think that's why Gary would remind us that everything is a choice. It's a choice to grow. It's a choice to work hard. But most importantly, it's worth it. The second point that Gary would remind us of is simply that Young Living is a community. Yes, Young Living is also a company that has legal frameworks and financial incentives, but at our core, at our heart, our foundational principles, our founding principles, Young Living is a community. Gary left us with an amazing set of tools to become better people. Tools with names like valor, highest potential, harmony, gathering, hope, forgiveness. But most importantly, Gary left us with a community. a community that can help foster all of us to grow and become better people. This basically sums up the entirety of the point I'm trying to get across. Communities are built, not joined. Gary was a force of nature. He was our primary community builder. And even though he's no longer with us, we are not lost because we have each other. Every one of us, every one of you is a community builder. That's already a fact. I'm just reminding you. I used to think of Gary as a farmer. But over the last few years, my thoughts about this have shifted a little bit. I realize now that farming was just a side gig for Gary. Gary's main gig was gardening. Gary was growing people. And I, for one, will always be grateful for the things that I learned from Gary and the way that my life was blessed from knowing him. Thank you for all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your attention. But most of all, thank you for building our Young Living community.
I'll be right beside you.